Hey everybody, this is Bill Crespo. Thanks for being on today, Espresso's Mastery Session. We got a great person that I want you to meet. First of all, thanks for being on the Mastery Session. And there's more interesting stuff about you that I was reading after we had talked that you didn't talk about. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that. First of all, Borino, tell them a little bit about yourself. You've been in the business for a long time, and tell them where you started, and tell them your background, the way background stuff, because that's interesting.
All right. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm a big fan of Espresso. You guys know we go way back, and yep. I appreciate the invitation. Thanks, Bill, for such a nice, kind intro. I'll keep it brief because I believe it's entertaining, but it's not going to help you shit if whatever my background is. So we'll talk about some practical tips. I have some notes here that I wanted to share with you for 2020 to implement for you guys to get some business. But just to explain this funny Scottish accent I have.
Yeah, from the South. Yeah, he's from North Carolina.
There you go. Yeah. I was born and raised in Czechoslovakia. I grew up in a family of actors. Both my parents were performers, actors, television, theater. And I did my first diaper commercial. It was a photo shoot when I was 4 months old. And the legend goes that there is still a picture of my naked butt somewhere floating out there. So you never know. Mine might come across of it or not. And at the fragile age of 24, I decided to defect from Czechoslovakia. Back then, it was, of course, a communist country. And first I went to Hollywood because of my background in acting. I thought I'm going to be the next Arnold or Van Damme or any of these guys, you know.
Especially you're a professional diaper. So yeah,
there you go. I had a background in diapers, so perfect leap into Hollywood. But it was a tough going. And because I barely spoke English and I really didn't have any connections, and plus, you know, I was doing it for so many years, I felt like maybe it's time to dive into something different. But because I didn't have any skills, you know, I couldn't like fix a car or build a house or do any of that. I did get these jobs where I would clean backyards and help people move. But I ran into an ad in a local penny saver ad for real estate school, free real estate school. So I signed up for it. I was all excited thinking, I'm going to drive a Benz and wear my Rolex and a fancy Armani and sell people's homes. And you know how the dreams are. And well, it didn't pan out that way. You know, this is usually in this story when people come on these podcasts and these broadcasts, you know, they impress you how I was the #1 agent. I sold 100 homes my first week in real estate and all that. Yeah. 2 years into the business, I became homeless. It got really bad, but some of it I blame the market, although that's kind of an easy way out. But this was, you know, late 80s, early 90s where things were really tough.
Yeah. What was the interest rates then?
We had like 12 or 13% interest rates, if you can imagine. 40% of our inventory, 4 listings out of 10 were foreclosures, REOs. So it wasn't exactly an easy time, but you know, it was a good time to learn because if you can survive and make it through really tough times like those, when things did turn out as they always do, it was a good school for me, good lesson. So I became homeless, struggled. People kept telling me, you know, get a regular job, get out of real estate. It's not a good time to be in real estate. It's not good for you either. And the truth is, I'm not a good salesman, never have been. And so there was a point where I said, okay, maybe sleeping in a car and having this kind of lifestyle is not exactly what I was dreaming about. But you know how even when things do get tough, there's that little voice that somehow you believe things will work out, things will be okay.
Exactly.
I had that. And I can't really even explain where it came from, but I had that sense like, it's going to be all right. And maybe you guys sometimes feel like, I'm sure you're not homeless. I hope you're not.
Yeah.
But when things don't go well, you might have that little belief. And it may not be this big flame, but it may be just that sense of, I'm going to figure this out. It's going to be all right. I feel like there is a purpose I have here and there are goals I want to meet and not just, you know, make money, which is great, but also to help people and really be good at this stuff. And you can. So I had that. And as the old saying goes, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and there were several teachers who appeared in my life. One of them was a guy named Art, who was a very successful RE/MAX agent who was doing expired. And he kind of showed me the ropes. He walked me through it. And that was when everything turned, everything changed. I developed a system because there really wasn't up to that point any system out there for expired. So I built my own.
Can I stop you for just 1 second?
Please do.
Because there's just one section there, because I see people that are not living in cars, but that, you know, that mindset of everything's not working out. Mm-hmm. How did you get out of that that car mindset? What triggered you to want to get better? Because, you know, it could be someone right now that just it's got to pay the bills, got to pay the mortgage, divorce, whatever it may be. You're in that some type of crazy head, and you got out of it. How did you get out of that?
That's a great question, Bill. The first thing I did was I recognized what was going in my head in the first place. And what I discovered, and this was through Tony Robbins, I discovered Tony. Remember back then, the personal power came on cassette.
Yeah.
We're talking like, you know, way, yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a box of cassettes, and
I got the
to
same thing.
Really? You remember that?
Yeah,
right?
I got that. They're like 16 of them or 15 of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a big box. I found it like on those late night infomercials on QVC.
Yeah, got them.
And it just blew me away. It was just like completely blew me away. It was a very different way of looking at things. And one of the things I discovered was, and this is the first step, is discover what limiting beliefs, what's holding you back. What do you really believe about money? And really, don't just bullshit yourself this like, rah, I'm going to be happy and pretend all is well. But deep inside, and this came from my lovely parents who meant well, but they grew up, you know, right after World War II. So it was a tough time to kind of grow up in a lower class family in communist Czechoslovakia. And so one of the things they installed in us was a belief money's hard to come by. Money's hard to come. It's hard. You got to watch your money, and it's hard to come by.
The recording that was going through in your head.
Yeah. And you know, since the age of 4, if you keep hearing that and somebody's such a huge authority and huge teacher like your parents have such huge impact on you, that stuck with me. So whenever there was a chance for me to make easy money and make life easy and make business prosperous, I figured out a way to screw it up. I made it difficult on myself. And this was not like a conscious, like, good morning, let's figure out how I can fuck my life today. But it was, you know, I was sabotaging myself. And whenever there was an opportunity to fix things or get on track, I would somehow figure out a way to get out of it and really mess my life up to the point where I was in a car.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I was working hard. I was working plenty. So the issue was not work ethics, and the issue was not the mechanics. This was really, like you said, very, very accurate. It was a mindset issue.
Right. Self-sabotage.
Yes. Yes. So step 1 for me was discover what's going on. What do you really believe? Money. When I say money, real estate, wealth, people, success, what is the first thing that pops in your head? And a lot of the stuff that used to pop in my head was money's hard to come by. Real estate is hard. It's too competitive. It's too difficult. I'm not cut out for this. I'm not good enough. And all these things, these limiting beliefs. And I don't want to turn this into kind of a rah-rah Tony Robbins session, but that really was the foundation.
Yeah. Well, we all go through it. I mean, it's in different levels, but what you're saying is that you almost have to control those negative stories that are just keep, you know, and, you know, I grew up in a Spanish family. So it was anybody who had money ripped someone off to get it. Yeah. And that's what I heard from my father, unfortunately, growing up. And it was, I had a real problem with making a lot of money in the beginning because it was the story.
Yeah. Where did you grow up?
I grew up, I'm a Nuyorican. So my parents were from Puerto Rico. Okay. I grew up in New York. So, and, you know, middle class, New York and the Bronx, you know, we're about, you know, we started about the same time. And you get those stories coming in your head. You know, why do you want to succeed? And I was always searching. So I understand that people right now could be in that type of situation. And it's your relative who's saying that. It could be your spouse. It could be, and you know you can do better. And that's why I'm so curious on what you did. And you came from another country into the United States, learned a different language too. How did you learn the language?
Slowly.
You know, did you use scripts?
Well, yes. And also, just wrapping up the mindset part. The second step I did was I started shifting. So I would do things like, I would go to a really fancy neighborhood, really nice, high upscale. You know, I worked and lived in Los Angeles, so there was no shortage of beautiful homes and opulent lifestyle. Right. I want to start shifting what it would be like to drive a Mercedes, to live in Beverly Hills, to go by the ocean, to eat in high-end like Spago or Tosca or some of those nice restaurants, to wear an Armani, to wear a Rolex. I want to get a taste of that. And I wanted to start training my mind. What is it like to live in abundance? Where you don't worry about money. It's not about price tags. It's about experiences. I want this because it resonates. It matters to me. It's something cool. So little by little, I started doing these shifts and I started developing these tools. And they may seem kind of cheesy, but it really worked well for me.
Yeah.
I started building vision boards.
Right.
Physical big boards with all these beautiful things. And some of them are metaphors and some of them are like literally stuff I wanted. And I would just keep reminding myself, because what I discovered was these beliefs were nothing but repeated thoughts with emotions.
Right.
And so if I could repeat over and over and screw my life up by, life is hard and real estate is hard and money's hard to come by, what would happen if I start repeating, there's plenty. There's plenty. I mean, think about it this way. Even in the worst possible year we had, and the worst year real estate was about 2008, somewhere around there, we still sold over 4 million properties.
Yeah.
Even in the worst possible real estate market.
And there are a lot of millionaires that were
That's right.
got to be millionaires in that market.
So even when things go bad, even if the market, so-called market, is so-called bad,
right,
there are still people who want to buy, still people who want to sell. There's still plenty of opportunities. So I started reprogramming this, using visual boards, using affirmations, emerging myself little by little into that kind of lifestyle and looking for evidence that there is plenty. I can do this. I got what it takes. Start reading more books on this, start really going to workshops and seminars, immerse myself into that lifestyle of abundance and joy and prosperity.
Yeah. And there's and you made a mention earlier, but I just wanted to say it because there's people jumping on Facebook today. This is not a motivational thing. This is a heart thing, really, for you. This is a passion thing. And you said, discover what is going on. So you had to identify that there was an issue. And then number two, you said, how can I live in this other life? How you started imagining having something different. So you're pushing all that negative crap out of your head little by little, so that's more powerful than the negative that was ingrained in you most of your life. Yep. And so, I don't think we talk enough about this. That's why I was so happy when I read your stuff. I go, oh my gosh, we got to talk about this because, as you know, in coaching clients, we're going through stuff. People in the best markets are still going through tragedy, financial issues, mistakes they've made. How do you get out of it? And so you found evidence, and you said something, reading books and the vision board. So you're not only you're reading it, but you're seeing it, right?
Yep.
You're seeing the change. And then from that, what happened? When you started seeing that happen, what happened?
I came up with a simple plan to turn my business around. And the foundation of it was start working expireds heavily.
How did you know about that? How did you know about expired?
How did I know about what?
When you got into business, right? You're prospecting basically, right? And then so how did you get yourself led into that expired world?
Well, I met the guy named Art.
The Art did, okay.
Art, and it was really basic. There was no real system up to that point. He's just, right. I would call expireds all day long, and I figured if I'm going to talk to people, might as well talk to someone who really already is in the process, has some intention, has some goals, and demonstrated in the past that they want to move.
Right.
And that made perfect sense. Up to that point, I had no idea that there was such thing. So I started systematically working, and I started incorporating things like an expired package or a stronger follow-up. I started visiting some of these expireds in person if I couldn't get the phone number. And so little by little, I built what now is the Expired Plus system. And within 10 months, I went from living in a car, being completely broke, to I bought my condo, I bought a first condo, I got a Mercedes, and I took then my wife to Venice, Italy on a 2-week vacation. So pretty good start.
Good start, yeah.
Not bad in 10 months to really turn things around. Now, I'm telling you guys this not to impress you, because I am a slow learner and I really don't have any special skills. We'll get to that English part in just a moment. The reason I'm telling you this to inspire you that no matter where you are today or how shitty 2019 was or whatever is going on in your life, your finances, or your business, when you're ready, you can turn things around very quickly. That's the beauty of this business. I have a friend who, her husband became a brain surgeon recently.
Right.
They live in San Diego, and this was his dream. He was working towards it. He was really going for it for many years. Now, get this. He's going to make about $380,000 a year as a brain surgeon working in San Diego. It took him 18 years to get to that point. College, undergraduate. He went to Harvard Medical School.
Yeah.
18 years. Cleaning instruments, doing all kinds of shitty work. He was in a basement of a hospital for a while. You talk about a journey. He also has over $300,000 in student loans. That's going to take over 10 years to pay off. Now, you, with the right tools, the right mindset, some practice, can reach the same level of income within 3 to 5 years.
It's amazing, isn't it?
With two exceptions. You have zero student loans. You don't have to worry about no $300,000 loan, number one. Number two, if you screw up, nobody's going to die.
Yeah.
But you're going to make the same money, have the same lifestyle as a brain surgeon, as a neurosurgeon. Think about that. You have the same opportunities to have the same lavish, luxury lifestyle as the highest paid professionals in this country, minus the burden of responsibilities and financial obligations. Now, not everybody will reach that. Obviously, not everybody wants to reach that, and that's fine. What I'm offering you is the inspiration that it's possible.
So why do we forget this? You know, because it's true. You're not making something up. It's, you know, you do the math, but how come it's not there sometimes in our heads in real estate?
That's a really good question. I think it's only for one of two reasons, because there are only two things that drive you, and you know this, I'm sure, from Tony Robbins just as well. There are only two motivators in our life: drive for pleasure and drive to avoid pain.
Right.
And the problem is, and I call it, you're stuck in a Toyota Corolla, where your life is just good enough. You have a good enough apartment, a little house, a good enough business, a good enough income where the bills are kind of paid most of the time. You're not miserable enough like I was to really make a rapid and dramatic change quickly. And you haven't set goals, and I know the word, it's been kind of abused to death, but your desires are not strong enough pulling you out so you can, like, let me give you and again, I'm not bragging, I'm just telling you. I'm so excited about working on a new project we started about 3 weeks ago. I was up at 4:30 this morning down in my office working on it. That's the level of excitement I have. And not just because it's going to make us a lot of money, that's part of it, but also because I can see the impact it's going to make on a lot of people and a lot of businesses that we serve, a lot of real estate agents. You know what I mean? So the answer is either make yourself really miserable, think about your future, what it would feel like 5 years from now if you waste the opportunity.
Right.
If you're not going to make the money, if you're going to stay stuck, or worse, go backwards. That's one. And two, make the things that you want, whether it's a nice vacation, a beautiful home where you want to live, or a car you want to drive, or something altruistic. It doesn't matter what it is, but it needs to have so much juice and so much power in it that not getting it is simply not an option.
So that
unfortunately, so many people are stuck kind of in between, like, yeah, you know, that new house, it would be nice to live by the ocean, but if I don't, my life will be okay.
So this is the same reason why they're not calling it expireds, because they don't have that inside of them.
Yeah.
Right. So
see, what I today still remember the days, what it felt like to wake up at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning, sleeping in a car. And I'm so terrified of that to this day.
Right.
And I will do anything ethically to never go back to that level of poverty ever again. So that's my drive. Now, I also have 2 kids and a beautiful wife, so I have certain obligation to my family, but also for myself to really utilize the opportunity we are given, because we really don't know how much more we have. Whether it's this crazy business, God knows where we're going to be 5 years from now. I don't know. Nobody really does. And we don't know where we're going to be.
Right.
So might as well make the best of it.
When you look at the expired business that turned this around for you, what was your schedule like? And what did you know, how did that all work? What kind of system did you have to get that picked up and start going into a whole nother level of production for you?
Excellent question. I started by simply talking to people because, as you know, Bill, it's still a people business.
Right.
We have these amazing tools like Espresso. I think is a phenomenal tool that can make your life easier, you more efficient, get more listings, no question about it. That's why I endorse it. That's why I'm a big fan of it. But even without it, it's still a people business. Even with all these beautiful gadgets, social media tools, videos, like you're watching video right now, all that is still about one person who has a problem connecting with someone who has a solution. So my first approach was just get on the phone and chat with these people if I can, then go visit them, have a little face-to-face if possible, and then decide, Can I help them? Do they have a desire? Is there something that they want to do that I can help them achieve? And then if so, through good, confident communication, qualify them, see what it is, position myself away from my competition in the process, and then set up a listing appointment and get the listing. That, in a nutshell, was my day. Now, I would divide it into two categories. And this is one of the first secrets I want to give you guys. I'll give you more, but here is one. When you start working expireds, don't rely too much on that first contact. Because real estate, if you notice, in many ways, kind of like dating. Two strangers meet, and so many agents crash and burn with expireds, not because they don't want to help people or they have good intentions, but they try too much, too fast, too soon. And it's kind of like when you go on a date and you like somebody and you say, hey, baby, how about we go to my place and check out my bedroom? You know, on a first date, not a good idea. Give it a little time. It's the same with expireds. Going right for the listing appointment, to them, you're just a stranger. And especially with an expired who's been kind of burned and is pissed off at everybody, not just their previous agent, but industry in general, because their dreams went kind of up in the smoke. You got to give it a little time. You got to come in with a little compassion and some patience. And this is something I had to learn. This is something I didn't just magically discover right up front. That's why expireds at the beginning can be a little cold, can be a little aloof. They can be a little abrupt with you. They have the right to feel those emotions. So the secret is spend some time reaching out to the new expired listings, but also remember that the conversions will happen through follow-up. And here's why that's important. The follow-up is a process where three things are happening simultaneously. One, you're building trust and connection with those people. And you already know, guys, that people do business with you because they like you, they trust you, they respect you. So during the first contact plus follow-up, you build those connections. You build those relationships with them. That's one. Two, you qualify them and you clarify. In other words, you get clear, what is it that people want? Why do they want to move? How much does it really matter to them? What is the problem that I'm trying to solve by getting the property sold? You need to know that, but also they need to know that. That's why the clarity is so important. And how much does that matter to them? That's motivation. And then third thing that happens during your follow-up is you position yourself away from everybody else, all these other, typical salespeople.
Right.
You position yourself as authority and a guide. And you do that with a combination of confidence, competence, and communication, where you show some compassion. You ask questions, you follow up, you keep in touch, you talk, you have a conversation, you start uncovering these things, and then little by little, there's enough trust where they say, you know what, I like this guy. Let's talk. That's the process.
What would you say? Because I could tell you have a dynamic personality, right? You're able to captivate people. I guarantee it, even if you're a little nervous, you couldn't even really tell because you're like that. Now, what kind of questions would you ask that separates you from looking like the other agents out there? I mean, is there any question that you say, hey, this just separates me? Because what you're saying is, hey, if you're a driver personality, you know this, and I want to show everybody I'm a car closer, and they're gonna choke these guys to death, and they have commission breath, I call it, right?
Yeah.
When they're going after them, you're saying, that's not what I do. I want to establish a relationship. What kind of questions do you ask to help that happen better?
That's an excellent question. My recommendation would be, if you want to get better at these conversations, whether it's on the phone, texting, or in person, first, focus on the first 4 seconds of that conversation, because it's just going back to that example of dating. The first impression you make, and that happens super quick.
Yeah.
Happens very quickly. The first 4 seconds or less will determine the outcome of that conversation. So here's a tip I'm going to give you. When you open the conversation with the expired listing, you want immediately to interrupt their expectations, the pattern that they expect, what a salesperson sounds like, and what they say. And that needs to happen immediately. The good news is, with a little bit of practice, you can really master this. So here's how it goes. This is straight from my Expired Plus system. So let's say Bill is an expired listing. I fired up Espresso, got his name, got his number, and I get him on the phone. Here's how I open the conversation. I would say, Bill.
Yep.
Hey, Bill, it's Borino with ABC Real Estate. Let me guess. I'm not the first one calling about your house today, am I?
No, you're not. You're like the 10th person who's calling me already today. I'm getting sick of you guys.
No kidding. Where were all these people when the house was up for sale, huh?
I have no idea.
Bill, just a real quick question. Have you ever listed the house? Is it back on the market?
No, it's not on the market yet. No, we're just not sure what we're going to do.
Gotcha. So now, watch what I did. I started with the most familiar, most pleasant sound Bill can hear, which is his name.
Yep.
I opened with his name, start building connection there. And then I went straight into a pattern interrupt. I'm not the first one, and I did it with a smile. And if you do that right, what you normally get back is a little bit of a chuckle. And that chuckle is a psychological indicator that you release some tension.
So we're doing this on the phone or on or face-to-face?
Both. This works either way.
Either way.
Either way. You can knock on the door and do the same thing. Am I the first one to stop by here about your house?
Yeah, no, actually, there's like a fifth person today.
Wow, no kidding. Open doors. Where were all these people in the house up for sale?
I have no.
Have you relisted? Is it back on the market?
You know, we're not sure what we're going to do yet. We're still contemplating, but we should have been gone a long time ago.
I don't blame you. Where did you guys want to go? What was the plan?
We wanted to go to Philadelphia, and
wow,
I got a job coming up, and I just it's really frustrating, to be honest with you.
I can imagine. What do you think I'm wrong? It seems like a really nice house. I'm really surprised it hasn't sold.
Well, the last agent said that he was going to do a bunch of open houses, but that didn't work either.
They didn't do the open house, or nobody showed up? What happened?
Yeah, I think, well, they did the open houses, and it just never sold the house. So he
ouch.
said,
That's a bummer. So, Bill, if somebody walks in tomorrow and they fall in love with the house, they really like it, would you still consider selling it? Would you still go to Philadelphia?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Fantastic. Watch what I did there. This is the second part. I control the conversation with questions. This is not a script.
Right.
This is what's called a dialogue outline. That means I have a pretty good idea where I'm going to take the conversation, but it's not a stiff wooden script that I have to recite, because that would immediately turn everybody off. They would say, oh, telemarketer, salesperson, it's not a conversation. I control it by asking questions. Now, the trick to that is I ask questions that are interesting and relevant to Bill. It is a topic that is relevant. I'm not talking about me. I'm not talking about my company, how many years I've been in the business, how many homes I sold, because at this point, he doesn't give a shit.
He don't care.
He's frustrated. He still wants to go. I can sense the motivation and urgency there. So we're going to talk about things that matter to him. Now, the last part, and this can be a little longer conversation, and if I feel it's time, I will take it to the bridge. Now, let's say this is over the phone. So I would say, Bill, let's do this. Let me just swing by for a couple of minutes just to say hi, to introduce myself. I'm going to drop out some info. I think you'll find it interesting. And this way, if maybe now, maybe down the road, you guys decide to give it another shot, I'll be happy to interview. I'll be happy to apply for the job. Will you be there around 4:30 tonight?
Yeah. Well, we're going to leave it around 5. So if you want to come by, you can please.
Sounds great. Looking forward to meeting you in person. Thanks.
All right, good. Let me just say something that I want to add to that confirms what you just said. Research has shown that every 5 seconds, your brain is assessing subconsciously if it's safe, right? Or is it dangerous? So you said 4 seconds, which is right into that 5-second thing, because it's either going to be a fight or flight syndrome, right? So if they don't feel comfortable, it's like adios amigo, click, or door closes. So by you making me feel safe, I let you talk to me more. And that's
the way I do that is I let you do more talking. I ask questions. That really is the secret. So you have these conversations. Now, sometimes you get them on the phone, sometimes you won't. Sometimes they'll be pleasant and I will have a nice conversation like we did. And you're going to have plenty of these kind of conversations. Here's the secret. Practice. I have no special talent. Bill asked me earlier, how did I get so good with English and all that? I really don't have any special skills. Definitely don't have any special talents. My devilishly good look, as my wife says, but other than that, I really don't. So the secret was, and this is something I started doing right up front, because I was so insecure about my language and my accent.
Right.
I started role playing. I would have my buddy Tony, who was another Remax agent, and every morning, cup of coffee, and we would just go like this, ping pong, back and forth, back and forth. Hey, give me this objection. Ask me this. Do it this way. Let's try this. And after about, I don't know, 3-4 weeks, suddenly I gained more confidence. It sounded more natural, and I would get better results.
Gosh, key things you said, again, is role-playing and practice. Back to the passion of wanting to get better and get ourselves out of our situations. Because, I think, and I just want to ask you this question, because you've been in the business as long as I have had. We've both got in about 85, right?
I got 88, yeah.
88. So think about this. When you look at the marketplace today, don't you think there's an opportunity that we haven't seen for a while this year?
I think today is better, and 2020 will be better than in the past.
Yeah.
I honestly think that. And I think that for two reasons. Number one, doing a broadcast like this, like we're doing right now, where I'm in my home office, Bill is in his office, you guys are watching, you can be anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Few years ago would have been, I still have gear here. We have a whole television studio here in Borino Productions. That's completely useless. I can do this on my iPhone now. So the tools and the resources that used to cost thousands of dollars and you need to hire people and you can do yourself now. You guys can, every single one of you can do Facebook Live, you can produce videos, you can talk to your audience for $0, and you can do that instantaneously. There's no production, there's no crew, nothing. So we have more tools and more opportunities today than we ever had before, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's number one.
I want to get to some, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Give me number two.
Number two, I think there's a second part to it is the market has shifted. There is no question about it that there is a change going on out there. And I'm not here to pretend that it's all like peachy dory. But what I am saying is, if you're paying attention, if you keep educating, you're here right now educating yourselves, you guys, which is awesome. You're here using the tools like Espresso, which is awesome. You're on the cutting edge. You have to be. If you keep doing that, educating yourself, really paying attention and sharpening the tools, you're going to crush it, because there'll be plenty of people this year who will not be able to keep up.
Yep.
Who will just simply not be able to be as good as you are. They will not know the market as well. They will not have the skills like I just demonstrated, which is nothing but a skill that you can learn. Who will not have the tools and resources, and who will not have the drive to stay on top of these things and do what it takes. Now, here's the secret, and I'm going to give you another one. Bill asked me how I did that. I was willing to do what was necessary, not what was comfortable. And I know writing blog posts, and I know posting social media, and I know doing all these fun things is very comfortable, and it feels like working, like you're doing something productive. But ask yourself, is this the most productive thing you can be doing? Here's what I believe. If you talk to 2 or 3 expired listings a day, if you have these conversations, let's say just 2 conversations a day, and you do 5 days a week, that's 10 a week, 40 a month. That's by the end of the year, you can have 300-400 good leads that you're following up with. Some will convert now, some later, but now we have a pool of people who are high conversion leads, high probability leads. There's a lot of money in it. There's a lot of opportunities in there. And that will get you the control you're looking for, the freedom you're looking for, the income you're looking for, where you can do it on your terms. Here is the difference, and this is the reason I'm so passionate about FSBOs and expired listings. I've been teaching that for so many years. And this is going to be sacrilegious, what I'm about to say, so brace yourself. I believe that working FSBOs and having a system, working expireds and having a system is better, more profitable, and gives you more control than working referrals. You hear me?
Yeah. So I can hear people going, what did you just say?
What did he just say? I know right now Buffini's hair is just going like this.
Woo!
Everybody's freaking out. Hear me out. I can build a formula for every single one of you where with a pretty good accuracy, we can predict and build a model how much money you want to make, how many listings it's going to take, and how you're going to get them. We actually did with my students yesterday. We spent about an hour and a half building exactly this. It's based on a formula, and the formula is simple. If I want to make, and I'm just going to pull numbers out of my butt, but you get the point. If I want to make $200,000, and let's say half of that will come from expireds, that's $100,000. In my area, that would take about 10 listings. I can build a formula. How many people I need to talk to, how many people I need to follow up with, how many listings I need to take, how many of those am I going to sell to make that 100 grand. And I can do that with about 80-90% accuracy, sometimes 100% accuracy. Here's the difference between expireds and referrals. You can work your sphere, and you should. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Don't hear me on this. I'm not against referrals. But you can never put together a predictable formula where I can look and you can tell me next week I'm going to get 2 referrals. That's impossible to do. Because you don't have direct control when and how many of those referrals you're going to get. You can go for a month without a referral, and then what you're going to do. Now, work your sphere, keep in touch with your past clients, dominate your neighborhoods. That's all good. But I think the number one way to get out of financial struggle and build the freedom and the lifestyle that you want, the ideal lifestyle you want, is by working leads like for sale by owners and expireds where you're in control, where you're in active control of lead generation, follow-up, and conversion. And you can't do that with any other group other than new and old expireds and for sale by owners. That's why I developed these systems and teach you guys, because I don't know any other faster way to generate business. I mean, I have students who can convert these leads in 15, 20 days.
Yeah.
I did recently an interview on my show. I had AJ Powers, who is a great agent in San Diego, California, and they do a lot of online lead generation. And they really got it down, and it's a good system. It's expensive, but it's profitable. It works for them. They're now tracking it. They found that it takes them 12 to 18 months to convert a lead. That's a long time. I can convert an expired, a motivated expired within days.
Yeah.
So that's why I believe to build a profitable, predictable business, you need to work expireds daily. You need to work FSBOs daily.
Because you're doing, and you know this because I know where your background is. It doesn't happen without tracking your performance, right?
Correct.
You have to know what you're doing. Remember these stats? And I don't know if it's still relevant today, but it used to be, and I think it's changed a whole lot, but we used to go 15 to 1 contacts, remember, to a lead.
Yep.
5 to 1 leads to an appointment, and 2 to 1 appointments to a contract. And so there's predictability if you track your numbers. And what happens is why some of you out there are not making the money you want to make is because you're not measuring how you're performing every day. And so you have no idea. And what Borino's saying is you got to do that if you want some predictability of income. And he is absolutely right. I agree with you 100%, is that without all the other fancy stuff, you can make a fairly good living. And we know some of the same people that have done this over the years just with expireds and for sale by owners.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have several students who do 80% of their income comes from FSBOs expireds, and they're doing really well.
There's a question here that I want to, and guys, ask some questions to Borino because this is really great. Now I'm going to, Trish has a question for you. It says, what was the question you asked to determine if they had already relisted it? He said,
the reason I start with that question, Trish, and that's a really good question, is I don't want to solicit somebody else's listing, and I don't want to waste time driving and working an expired who's back on the market.
Love it.
And you know how some agents are, they relist the property, it doesn't show on MLS, it's not on a system yet. So that's why I want to ask that. Now here's the second reason why I want to ask that question. Whatever they say afterwards, if they say no, they have not relisted, I don't care a whole lot if they shoot me down and get off the phone, which sometimes they do. Because if they have not relisted, I know something they don't. I know statistics. And I know statistically, even though they may feel like they don't want to list, even if they say it, and very often they do, the reality is very often they do. Has that ever happened to you guys? Have you ever lost a listing? I know I lost so many, I'm embarrassed to even admit how many hundreds of thousands of dollars this cost me until I figured this out. I would have an expired listing, have a good conversation with them, but they'll tell me, we wanted to move to Oregon, changed our mind, we're staying where we are. Market is kind of slow, we couldn't get our price, we're staying. And they're very genuine, very authentic about it. So I would say, hey, thanks. Well, if you happen to change your mind, here's my information, call me. How many of those call you back? Zero. Big fat zero. But here's the second thing that happens. 2, 3, 4 weeks later, call a banker sign, Century 21 sign in the front yard. I'm like, what the fuck? They just told me they're not going anywhere.
Right.
How is that? Why would they lie to me? It's not that they lie. They're in a state of mind, very emotional, distracted, disappointed, angry, frustrated, and they don't trust anyone. And you know, like this happens even in my life, where you know sooner or later you're going to deal with something, but you just throw your hands in the air. I'm not dealing with it. I'm not doing it. Forget it. That's the reaction that they're in. That's the state that they're in, emotional state.
Which is the fight or flight. Really?
Exactly. That's exactly right. You're absolutely right. So a good rule of thumb is give them 5 chances. That's what I used to do. I would never drop a lead until I would give at least 5 chances, 5 touches before I say, you know what? I don't want to deal with these people. They really don't seem to be motivated. But very often those that I initially had thought, I'm not sure about them, if I kept in touch, little by little, I would start building the trust and connection we talked about. I would warm up to them. They would warm up to me. I would start being a familiarity in their life. They would feel comfortable. The trust would rise. And they would start asking me questions about the market, about where they want to go and what kind of home they can get and all these things. And I would convert them. And sometimes 8, 10 months later. And that's okay. I don't mind because I keep stuffing that pipeline with new leads. Some convert now, some later. But if you do this consistently, you're going to have a consistent, predictable business.
What is the biggest mistake people do with expired?
They give up too soon.
Okay.
They give up too soon. They try calling once, try calling twice, nobody picks up, they move on. Big mistake. Stay with it. This is a game of patience, persistence, and patience.
And technique.
And technique. Oh, yes. Skill.
Yeah.
Skill.
Yeah. And so what you were saying, which Trish was asking, is basically you don't chase something that's unchaseable.
Right.
Because if they have, let's say this, I give you this objection. Tell me what you think. Well, we got an agent of mine. Thanks so much for coming by, Borino. But we've got a person, and we're not going to go back with that same guy. He didn't. But we've got someone in mind.
Excellent. It's always good to have somebody you have some level of trust with. Where did you guys want to go? What was the original plan?
Well, we wanted to move to Philadelphia, and we're a little bit behind the 8 ball. We're supposed to be there, real soon because I'm getting a new job.
Oh, awesome! Congratulations. What do you do?
I'm actually a carpenter, but I'm in charge of a big project out in Philly, and we're taking over a big project.
Sweet. That's exciting new chapter in your life. Now watch what I did. I acknowledged the objection. I don't necessarily need to solve it or handle it. I simply move on. Yep. Did you notice that? I continued the conversation, stayed in control. Nothing happened. Don't care. Because I know statistically, if I stay with it, I have a chance to get that listing. If I give up, there's a 0 chance I'm going to get that listing. Is it possible they have a close friend that they're going to list with? Sure, it's possible. But here's the rule, another secret. Until the contract is signed, it's game on.
I like that.
Don't give up too soon. Because very often what they say, we have a friend, we're going to go back to our old agents, we don't know what we're going to do. We're not going to relist. You're going to hear all these things. These are just brushes, nothing more.
Yeah. Even when they think they have someone, yes, you show them something and go, whoa, wait a minute. This Borino guy and my friend, they're not the same.
Yeah.
Something about
Remember, what they often mean is we're going to go to that agent or our old agent unless somebody better comes along.
Right. Right.
Just remember that. Unless somebody better comes along. Now, if I try to handle it right here on the spot, I will be just another needy, desperate agent trying to handle the objection. Rebuttal, which is a crazy word. So don't want to do that. I acknowledge it. I answer it. It's good to have somebody you have some level of trust with. And then I take over the conversation, go straight to asking questions.
Yeah.
That works 90% of the time.
Yeah. And they feel comfortable.
Yeah.
They're not sure what it is, but they feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And they're ready to move on. Hey, this has been great, Borino.
Good. Is that helpful?
Yeah, this is awesome stuff. And let me see.
Can I just, real quick, Bill, if I may, I'm sorry for the interruption, but
go ahead.
Before I forget. In order for all this to work, you only need 2 things. You need to have 2 tools that will make your life easier and all this way more effective. 1, you need to have a good data source. Yes, right. You can pull expireds just out of MLS, but that's pain in the ass. That's slow and it's not accurate. Yeah. So having something like Espresso, very helpful because that's really what your competition is using. So might as well even the playing field. If you want to have good data and it's fairly inexpensive, robust system, get on it. I'm a big fan of them and I endorse them wholeheartedly. Now, yes, we're affiliated with them. My plan is for so many of you to sign up that I can retire to Bahamas, but so far it hasn't happened. So that's the first tool you're going to need. The second tool you're going to need is a good contact management system. And there are only about 7,000 of them out there. They're all pretty good. They're all robust. They will all get the job done. But you need a one central place where you're going to house all these leads so you can automate some of this follow-up, some of this keeping in touch with them.
Exactly.
So you can look into Alliantis. You can look into Realty Juggler, Top Producer. There's a whole bunch of them out there. Get one, use it. It is an essential part of this entire process, and not just with expireds, but in real estate in general.
All right. And remember the stat that we used to talk about, that 70% of your appointments would come from effective lead follow-up.
Yes.
If you don't have a good lead follow-up system, you're actually losing a tremendous amount of business.
Majority of your business will come from follow-up. So if you're not getting enough business, lead generation is the first problem I would address. But the second that is connected to it is you need to have a lead follow-up. Like with expireds, I found that it takes 5 to 15 follow-up contacts for a majority of my conversions to take place.
Interesting.
It could be 5, it could be 10, it could be 15. But majority is in that bell curve between 5 and 15.
And it's a process. We lose
Yes.
patience so much. And you need to understand that it will happen because your competition is going to leave sooner than you are.
Yes. Most agents will give up way too soon,
Yeah.
which is good news for you guys because now you know the secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good point, Bill. Yeah.
Borino, so how do the people get in touch with you? If they got any questions, what can they do? Because this has been awesome. I hope you guys.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Now, yes, I cannot make you an expired expert in 45 or 50 minutes, but I can give you enough to get you started because I'll give you the last secret that helped me tremendously. Be willing to suck. Be willing to be bad at something. Whatever I do, guys, whatever I did for the very first time, whether it's sports, real estate, coaching, videos, you name it, doesn't matter. I was terrible at it first. We're having fun now with Bill, and this is really pleasant, and I love teaching this. I could stay here for 2 hours. But you should have seen some of my early sessions years ago. Terrible. Real estate, I wish there was a recording. Unfortunately, I don't have it, of my phone calls to expireds at the beginning. You would laugh your ass off. Remember the character Borat?
Yeah.
Sarah Baron Cohen? Yaksema, you want to buy a house is good. That was me. It was terrible. Be willing to be bad because it's a process. In other words, I never played golf. So for me to get on a golf course today and score a really good game would be ludicrous to expect, would be impossible because it's a set of skills I don't have. Working expired listings is the same thing. You have to develop a certain set of skills. And I see this with agents who tried short term, few days, maybe a couple of weeks, don't get the great results they were hoping for, and they quit. They give up because either they believe expires don't work or they're not good enough. There's somebody else who can do it better. Now, that may be true, but the fact is you can do it well as well. Every single one of you. Think about it. If this guy from Czechoslovakia figured it out, every single one of you can. It's a set of skills. You just have to stay with it. Be willing to be bad at it and then get a little better and a little better and a little better. And pretty soon you'll notice that it takes some skill, some patience, and suddenly people will respond differently. They will have different conversations with you and you're going to get results. I've seen it over and over with my students.
And your passion and your energy, you could screw up and still people would want to work with you because you just seem like a person who's different. You've got a desire. They see something. So it's amazing that, we also say enthusiasm can trump skill at times.
I totally believe that. We had a guy in my area, one of my competitors was a guy named Lorenzo, young guy, very tall, handsome Hispanic dude, beautiful Armani suit. I remember it was dark blue, gorgeous suit. I always wanted one like that. He was driving a yellow Lambo. He had a yellow Aventador. He would show up and you could like hear it, a mile away. How do you compete with that? Somebody who has plenty of experience as a team, wears beautiful clothes, speaks Spanish. I mean, he had everything. And yet there were times where I would beat him. I would get listings over Lorenzo. And it's just like you said, Bill. It's my passion. It's the enthusiasm. It's the desire to serve someone. Yes, you want to get paid. Of course, you got a family to feed. You got bills to pay. But it is the compassion combined with this confidence that you can get the job done. That's very contagious. People like that. And at the end, they really don't care whether you've been in the business for a year or 20 years. I know many agents who've been at it for 20 years and are still not very competent. So counterweigh that with your passion.
But Borino, I'm not a passionate person. I'm just not that kind of person. How do I get there?
Practice.
There you go.
Practice. One of the things I have, and I still have it here as a reminder, I got one of these little bad boys. This is just a little pocket digital recorder. And every role play session, every phone call, every follow-up, I would record myself. And then I would listen. And at the beginning, yes, I would have some scotch just so that I can get through the recording. It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, I tell you.
But I would pay attention. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What can I improve? And I tell you, this little guy will improve you very quickly if you're willing to listen and do the work. Now, like with anything else, you got to put in the work. So if you are too cold and too aloof, if you are too laid back, you can bring that out. This is not my natural personality. It really isn't. But through practice, I learned that if I'm passionate, if I believe in what I teach you guys, I can light up that fire in you, you're going to get better results faster. And that's mainly why I do this. I want you to succeed. Sure, I have a company to run and we have training and systems we sell, all that. But at the end, it is your success that is my success.
Right.
And imagine I would be standing here and I'd be like, yeah, you guys should call some expireds. I think it's a good idea. I think you can make some money. And good luck with that. Yeah. You'd be like, get the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
There would be no fire. There'd be no
Really
nothing.
good.
You would tune out a long time ago.
Exactly.
Same thing when you're prospecting, lead generation, follow-up, same concept.
We've got 2 minutes, and I want to give you a question from John.
Yeah.
John says, how often would you suggest follow-up calling the same leads after not getting any response?
That's a really good question. My rule was I would call first 5 days every day. It would just go on my system automatically, and I had it set up on my CRM. Every day I would make a phone call. Then I would spread it out to 2 days. Then I would spread it out to 4 days. But here's the thing, and I promise this is the last secret I will give you. Don't rely on phone alone. Don't rely on single channel ever. Don't just call. If you can call them. If you can call them, can you text them? Text them. If you have their email, like Espresso very often will get you their email. Send them a quick email. Can you visit them? Can you mail them something? Can you hit them up on the social media? The more of these channels you open, the better chance you have to convert. It's just like fishing. The more hooks you have in the water, the better chance you have to get them. So don't rely on single channel ever.
This is awesome. You were great. Give us your email address so they can call you. What is it? Give it to us.
Borino at expiredplus.com. Borino at expiredplus.com. But what you guys can do is we have like, I don't know, 400 or 500 videos on YouTube on these topics. Just go to YouTube, look up Borino, watch the videos, check it out. There's plenty of information, more info, scripts, there are dialogues, role play sessions, advanced strategies, all kinds of stuff. So hit me up on YouTube, sign up for the channel. We post new videos almost every day.
Awesome. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This was awesome. Use it, go to work, because he's going to make sure that you've got the passion to get these expires listed. So thanks so much, guys. Talk to you next time. Borino, thank you very much for being on.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Espresso Agent. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you soon. Let's go get him.